welcome, welcome, welcome to all. This is Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa district, Latur, Maharashtra from India. Is running this international conference series. Today we are fortunate that Edna madam is joining from United States. She will speak on redefining value in education. For this international conference, we have invited Jigna Jagdish Khoyani madam, who is principal from our side state, Ahmedabad. Also convener Dr. Ken Kadam sir, event coordinator Karad sir, as all those who have joined from their places and all the participants of my college. I welcome to resource person madam and all of you. This session she will deliver talk on redefining value in education. Before starting her speech, I would like to request Dr. Vasudha Arora madam, please introduce our respected guest.
Thank you, sir. So we are truly delighted to introduce today's esteemed guest, Edna Harding, a result-oriented life coach, business growth strategist, and transformational speaker. With a rich experience spanning over 2 decades, Edna has been helping individuals and businesses grow using innovative strategies and biblical principles. A certified Maxwell business consultant, master mindset coach, and a multifaceted professional in fields ranging from B2B sales to project management, she has recognized for her visionary and creative problem solving skills. Edna's academic credentials include a bachelor's degree in marketing and entrepreneurship, and she is well trained in cognitive behavioral therapy, emotive behavioral therapy, growth mindset, and emotional intelligence. A published author and podcaster, Edna uses her platform to mentor individuals, helping them tackle life's challenges, ranging from financial competency to wealth creation. Edna's core mission is to restore hope, life, love, and truth to individuals, helping them make transformation decisions. She envisions creating a marketplace transformation, one mind at a time, fostering positive change and improved outcomes impacting generations to come. A proud military wife and mother of 2, Edna is currently based in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where she continues to make an impactful difference through her work. Let's welcome Edna Harding. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me here. Oh, that's so cool, the little celebration things. I'm sorry? Thank you so much for having me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can very well hear you, Ms. Harding.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure. So I'm very excited to be here this morning for me, evening for you all. I'm going to be talking about a topic that's really close to my heart. Based on my conversation with Dr. Bekhar, I believe you all are professors in English, science, social sciences, math, political science. Is that correct? Did I miss anybody?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So today we're going to talk about Generation Z, which are students that are in your classes right now. And before I go into, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be discussing today. So we're going to talk about a little bit about statistics on this generation. Then we're going to talk about 5 mega trends that this generation is doing, especially right now. And then we're going to make it practical and apply those trends into the academia, right? So in education. And so hopefully this conversation will be valuable. I understand that there is a Q&A discussion session afterwards. So I'm going to try to make it brief. And I'm more of a conversationalist. I love to engage in conversation more than anything. So I'll highlight some main points, talk about some applications, and then we'll open up for discussion because that's what I love to do. And so before I go into what I wanted to talk about in statistics, I want to share a little quick story. So I hired a babysitter. This is a few years ago for my newborn. And she was a generation and Zer, so she was like 19 at that time, and I was having a conversation with her about just their generation and their views on education, their views on just life in general. And it was and we're talking about Facebook, like social media. You guys are familiar with social media, and it's like and I remember she said, Facebook, that's for old people. I was like, Facebook is for old people? She said, yes, Facebook is for old people. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, and I'm thinking like, wow, that's interesting. Because I remember growing up, I'm not growing up, like in my college, I'm in the oldest, I was born in 1984, so I was in the eldest in the millennial part. And my husband, he's in Generation X, so he's 46. And so it was just interesting to see the different mindsets. And so she was telling me a little bit about the mindset of the Generation Zers, I would call them Generation Z. So I started kind of doing a little bit of research, doing a little bit of digging on like, what is this mentality that they have right now? And so I found it very valuable. So I'm going to share with you guys some statistics before I go into the mega trends that I discovered. And so I'm going to put it on here. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm going to put it in the chat. Okay, here we go. I'm sure you guys like statistics. I'm very analytical. So I don't just like talking theory. I like talking facts. So can you guys see it on the chat? I put it in the chat. Oh, it's too, I guess I can't. Okay. Well, I guess it's too long, so I can't do all of them. I'll do some of them, okay? So 1/3 of Generation Z chooses traditional 4-year degree college programs. So that means 2/3 of Generation Zers don't think college is important, which is very interesting. And then it says 62% of Generation Z worries about affording higher education expenses. I don't know about it is over there, but here in the States, college education is super expensive. And so a lot of them are worried about paying for these, education. And then interesting enough, 29% of them believe that robots will help them learn more efficiently. I don't know. Do you guys have robots in your schools yet? I was just curious. And so they believe that's going to help them learn. And then it says 69% of Generation Z students believe that college admission process has become too competitive. There was a few other ones that I wanted to share that I'm going to skip this part. It says 18% of Generation Z are more likely to drop out of school than millennials. So a lot of people are also dropping out of college. And then it says here that 74% of Generation Z students say that they spend their spare time online. Around 80%, let me put this here if I could put it here because so that I could. Around 80% of Generation Z students feel more creative and surrounded by diverse thoughts and ideas. Okay. And then it says that around 80% of Generation Z students access the internet for homework help, which is very interesting because back when I did homework, we didn't have the internet to go Google and find answers. We had to actually use our thinking skills, right, to come up with those answers. And then I'll do a couple more. It says 49% of Generation students feel the need for universities to change their curriculum to adapt to the future. And that was the thing that kind of like made me realize, and this is all from this website, so I can share with you the link so you guys can look at the rest of them. Okay, so having said all of this, this is really important to know, the perspective of the students that you have in your classes. And so I want to now go into the 5 mega trends, the mentalities that a lot of these students have. Okay. So right now, number one is these young people are highly collaborative. Okay. Those from older generations are usually very like secretive about their ideas. They don't want to share about, their ideas. They're like, this is my idea. I don't want to share with everyone else. In this generation, they believe in, let's talk about all my ideas. Let's take your idea, my idea, everyone ideas, whatever, listen to it out. And they're not against sharing the wealth of knowledge versus like, I'm the smart one. I don't want to share my, I don't want to share my ideas because you might take it. Okay. So that's a different mentality, right? This generation, they're very highly collaborative. So, they believe in group effort versus individual effort. Do you guys see a difference? Like right now, I mean, just thinking about it, when I'm the eldest, a millennial, it was all about, okay, competition. Like I want to go first. I want to win first. It's very competitive. Generation Z is all about like, let's do it together. Let's go kumbaya, like community kind of thing, right? And then another thing that was interesting that I noticed that I found out is that the one size fits all approach, they don't believe in that. They also don't believe that, for example, Dr. Bekkar, he has his path. I'm going to follow his path. Or Bill Gates has his path. I'm going to follow his path. They don't believe in following someone else's path, and they don't believe in one size fits all. They believe that they have their own path. So Edna has a path. Jigna has a path. Dr. Mahesh has a path. We all have our own paths. So different mentality, right? So they don't like, oh, just because you're a millionaire and a billionaire and you're rich and you're this, I don't want to be that. I want to find my own path. So that's the mentality that they have, right? And so that's the first part. They're highly collaborative. They don't believe in like, oh, look who's who kind of thing. So that's the difference. The second thing that I want you to know about is small is the new big. That is their mentality, which means for them, they don't want to be one of many. They want you to get to know them on a personal level. So they don't want you to lump them in a group like all these Generation Zers. They want you to say, Lisa is this, Sean is this. They want you to know them individually versus lumping them in a group, right? Which is very different. So small is the new big. Have that mentality. They want you to personally know them, know what they care about, know what they're angry about, know what they, makes them happy, kind of thing. Number three, the third trend is microverse versus metaverse. Community is key. So it's going from, in my days, and in my husband's days and my parents' days, it's what's in it for me, right? That's their mentality. What can I get out of this? This group, their mentality is what's in it for us? What's in it for us? And so they stick up for those who don't have a voice. They're motivated by purpose. Money is important, but being passionate about their work is more important than money. Okay? Knowing that their work is making an impact and helping them make a better place is their driving force. And they're not infatuated by who knows who, like as I mentioned, they're driven by flexibility, freedom, ability to make a difference, and feeling valued. So, back when I was growing up, it's all about who can buy the biggest houses, who can, have success, more money in the bank account, who can make a name for themselves, get all these awards and everything. In this generation, they don't care about that stuff. What they care about is what are you doing for the whole, for the community, for my country, for my state, for the elders, for the homeless. Like that's their mentality. Okay. The fourth mentality, the fourth trend that you're going to see with the Generation Zers is they're entrepreneurs. A lot of them are entrepreneurial mindset, which is where I kind of come in. Entrepreneurial mindset isn't just about starting a business, Because a lot of times you look at entrepreneurs like, okay, it's about taking business classes. No, entrepreneurs are basically creative thinkers. They're problem solvers. They like to use their brain to create solutions for problems. So, back in when I was growing up, we valued like corporations, like the Nikes and the Exxons, the Shell, like the big corporations, and in that, like being in a corporation. Well, this generation is more about like individuals, like the Zuckerbergs, like the entrepreneurs who the Grant Cardones, those individuals who didn't go to college, built an empire with nothing, right? So that's who they look up to. For us, like our generation, the millennials, and we looked up those people who built those big corporations. Their generation is all about individualism, what these individuals create for mankind and what type of opportunities they create. Am I making sense? I'm just making sure like everyone's still following? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. Okay, so they were inspired basically to create their own paths. So these are all mentalities that they have. So this generation is all about discovering practical, like more, not theory, but actual practical skills that they could apply to their life now. So a lot of people now are starting businesses at a young age, from 16 years old. I know a 10-year-old who started a business, and created a product that they sold to chains, because now they have access to information on the web. They have access to coaches. They're learning from people who didn't have a college education, but was still successful. Okay. And number 5, we kind of discussed it earlier. The 5th trend is connecting is key. They desire for real in-person connection, right? So they want to know that I see you, Lisa. Like, I know you're afraid of dogs. When you start building that personal connection with your students, listen to me, they will hear you when you're teaching. If you don't know their name, you don't know anything about their family, you don't know anything about, their hobbies, like you're not going to be able to connect with them. Because again, individualism is key right now. If you really want to connect with the next generation, you need to know them in a personal level. Okay, now let's address college skepticism. Okay, I think I'm doing good on time. Awesome. College skepticism. Okay, so again, having this mindset, because they have all these examples of people who didn't go to college and are still successful. So those who are in college, most of the time, at least from me, is maybe their parents are making them go to college because, hey, you got to go to college because I'm paying for this. That's one example, right? 2 is people are going to college, but now it's like, have you ever heard the phrase, college degrees a dime a dozen? I can't tell you, when my youngest brother, he's now in his early 30s, his mid 30s. When he was looking for jobs, he had a degree, but he was having a hard time finding jobs because everyone had degrees. So now a lot of the differentiators was, okay, how can I differentiate myself if I have a degree, right? Like everyone else. Because now it's about what have you done? And so you got to think about this for your students. If you want your students to be successful and in life, you have to give them the practical skills too, beyond the educational knowledge, beyond the academical knowledge. Give them life skills to help them implement that out in the marketplace as well. So again, college people, they're like, okay, I'm in college because I have to, or 2, because I don't want to give up on college just yet because I don't have the bravery to go start a business. So they're in college to try to explore themselves. So having this mentality, how can we cater to these students who are in their classrooms right now because they're forced to do it, or because they're like, I don't want to do things on my own yet. I'm not brave enough to do that. Like, the Grant Cardones and the Zuckerberg, all these people who didn't go to college. Okay. So the first thing is, let's incorporate entrepreneurial thinking, right? Now, remember, entrepreneurial thinking doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to start my business. It means creative thinking, coming up with solutions for problems, and innovation. That's what entrepreneurial thinking is. Okay. So I wanted to give examples. So let's talk about English. Okay. If you're in English, you're a literature teacher, you're teaching English, how can you help people do the entrepreneurial thinking? So for example, stories. We learn how to tell good stories or read stories. So there are a lot of good books out there. So nowadays, in marketing, in order for you to be successful in business, you need to be a good storyteller. You also need to be able to know how to captivate the attention of your audience. So make it practical for your students. As you're reading, like your literature, your books, make it applicable. Say, what makes this book a good story? How can you apply this in your business? Because even not just in business, in anything, if you're an influencer, if you're a leader, you don't connect. I remember someone told me, my coach mentioned, never tell a point without a story, and never tell a story without a point, right? They don't want to just hear about a story if there's no point to it for the readers or your audience. So that's a good way of incorporating entrepreneurial thing, is like whatever books you're reading, find like, okay, students, what makes this book a good story? And make it practical. Don't just read a bunch of books, write a report, write an essay. Make it practical for them. What makes this a good story? Does that make sense? Now let's talk about biology. Okay, sciences, right? So for example, we can study how to make plants grow better and not get sick, right? So now that you know how certain plants thrive, how can you apply it to their world? Well, you could think about how you can use these ideas of what makes plants work, what the nutrients they need, the type of nurturing it needs, and teach those things to farmers in your local area and your community, and sell and share those knowledge with these farmers and these business owners. They remember, it's all about what you're doing for the community. So what you do is you could get an activity and say, okay, students, now that we know how plants work, now we know how to make plants thrive, let's identify farmers that we could go over there and explain and maybe work with them and share these ideas with them to help improve their crops, or help, those who are struggling in, agriculture and stuff like that. Does that make sense? So you incorporate the practical stuff with what they're learning, and that's going to get their entrepreneurial mind thinking. Now let's talk about hands-on learning. Okay. Hands-on learning is another way for your students to apply what they're learning in school. So, because what it does is it makes what they're learning tangible. And how do you do that? So collaborate with other businesses. So let's say you have other local businesses in your area. You could have them come to your office. I was going to say office, your classrooms, talk about some of the challenges they're facing, open it up to your students and be like, okay, class, how can you guys have any idea on how to solve this particular challenge for this business owner? You see, what's happening is you're engaging with the local community, you're engaging with the local businesses, you're engaging with the stuff that they're learning in school and applying it to real life stuff. That's what's going to engage them in the learning, and that's how they're going to be able to not just learn it, but also apply it to their skills. And then also you're preparing them for when they get out of school, because now they have the practical knowledge and the life application for them to succeed outside whatever it is that they do. Okay, so that's another one. And then also technology and teaching. I'm pretty sure you already have a lot of technology in your business, but incorporating AI, in your teaching. AI is huge right now. I don't know if you guys are incorporating AI yet, but identifying like ChatGPT and all these things, like giving them practical, knowledge and how to use AI in maybe developing even their reports. I know you're like, what? That's cheating.
Yeah.
Nope.
Actually, I would really like to let you know, Ms. Harding, with NEP, the New Education Policy 2020, which has come into the schools of India, AI is already on the curriculum, wherein computer science, artificial intelligence, and robotics is being combined with the curriculum, whether it is a CBSE school, an ICSE school, or an IB school. And we actually go ahead and combine it, and that's how it is being delivered to children very, very used. And now what you have covered, the five major points, I think, yes, as educationists, each one of us needs to understand. And we're really grateful that you're here today for us.
Oh no, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are already on it. AI is huge right now, and teaching them about this, because what's happening is, I know back in the days when I was in school, when I was talking about starting my business, my professors frowned upon it. They're like, do you know most businesses fail the first 5 years? That's what my professor told me. So instead of like encouraging my dreams and encouraging my, like who I am as a person, like they're like, go work for corporate America, make a lot of money. After you retire, then start a business. That was their mentality, back then. So now it's all about being open. So, AI is big right now. Incorporating that shows to your students, hey, I see that not everyone is going to go do corporate, right? Some people are going to start their own businesses. Some people are just going to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's completely fine, right? That's the kind of mentality you need to have. And then the next thing is mentoring. Also, I'm almost done. Having mentorship programs. I would like, my biggest advice is partnering with local businesses, local, individuals who are looking to give back to young people, and have them mentor your students outside of the classes. Obviously, you kind of have to like safeguard and make sure they're not, bad people, but you want to have a qualification process and have people mentor these students, because my mentors, I literally had to pay to mentor me. That's sad. When you have all these individuals who are already successful, having people mentor young students who don't really have money to pay, first of all, but that's how I was able to get my mentorship. I hired my first career coach at 19 years old. I paid $5,500 that I did not have, because no grown-up, no professional wanted to mentor me. And that's the sad part, right? So having people mentor they're good-hearted people, out there. Finding these people, if you know someone's interested in becoming a doctor, talk to your doctor friends. Hey, I have a student in my class who's interested in becoming a doctor. Do you want, can you have them come to your office to shadow you for an hour or so? Something like that, like something very simple. All right. And so anyway, I hope this was beneficial. I just wanted to share some mentalities and some trends that Generation Z people, students are following, and then how to apply it in the classroom. And hopefully I got your guys' brain thinking on what you could do to make learning fun, practical, educational, but also transformational, because I can tell you, and one of the statistics that I didn't add in here is that a lot of this generation are committing suicide. And that's because they're depressed, because they don't see hope in the future, because they're seeing what's going on in the world. Even just looking at the things that are going on in the world, all the debts, everything that's going on breaks my heart. I didn't grow up seeing all of that. This generation are seeing the ugly side of things, and it's discouraging their heart, because they don't feel like there's a bright future ahead. They feel like it's only going to get worse. So us as grown-ups, as people who are mature, who are already ahead of them, it's our responsibility to protect them and guard their hearts, guard their minds, and ensure that they have hope for a bright future, and that we could help them navigate through these challenges that we're in right now, so that they could still have a thriving life in spite of what's going on around them. Well, that's all that I have for this evening for you guys. I guess I'm going to open it up for questions. If you have anything else to add, Dr. Bakar.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, surely we can open the session for question and answers. And I would request everybody to put in your question and answers through the chat or unmute yourself and ask for the day.
I see Dr. Smita Suresh Giri has a question. I don't. Okay. I'm
Yes,
unmute.
madam. Very good evening.
Hi. Yes. Hello, doctor.
Yes, myself. Yeah. Myself, Smita Giri. I'm from Kolhapur, Maharashtra, India.
Nice
Madam,
to meet you.
yeah, very nice to meet you also. And good evening, everyone. Madam, I just feel that whole world is facing terribly with the corruption and all that problems with the climate change, environmental issues, and all. So, is there any? Actually, we have discussed. My topic is also same, that universal value education, and my suggestion always there, and I put that one point in front of all, that education system must be changed according to as the world is changing itself, and value education it remains for a long time, and we have to include in our syllabus also since from the beginning of the childhood. Is it? Yes.
So your question, sorry, is it? You broke up. Is it?
Yeah. I mean to say that education system throughout the world it should be changed according to the human values. We have to inculcate all the values since from the beginning of childhood.
Completely agree.
So we have to, yes. So the education system must be changed.
Yes, I truly
Yes.
believe. Yeah, I truly believe that. And I'm glad you pointed out early childhood because it's, by the time they get to college, their thoughts are already like formed, right? So when you start them when they're young, when they're little, when they're 3, 4, 5, and you instill those values, you instill those what I call life coping skills, like being able to handle stress, handle anger, those type of stuff. That is so essential, especially in the primary period, like the first elementary school, because I notice like by the time I'm dealing with my clients who are, a lot of them are older, in the 50s and 60s, a lot of the problems that they have in adulthood stemmed up from their childhood when they were younger. And then we have to do like a lot of like the mindset coaching, the things to go back into why are you the way you are right now as an adult. And a lot of them came from childhood, whether it's their parents or an uncle or somebody that groomed them when they were younger, that affected their decision-making skills older. So completely agree with you, Dr. Smita. Did you have a specific question though? Or were you just making a comment? Oh, you're on mute. Oh. Okay, so yes, there's a Dr. Swan and Shukla. Yes. Go ahead, sir. I don't know how to unmute. Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Ma'am, good evening over here and good morning for you. A wonderful session we are going with and wonderful experience you are giving. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. My question is very simple. We are having in our education system, especially in the medical field, we are having the program outcome, the course outcome, and learning objectives are very clear, no doubt. But many of the times it happens that, by giving so many assignments and so many work, and For medical persons, they have to do means that academic work also, as well as you'll find they have to do practical work also. We have to go for hospital duties and clinical exposure. We should get to get practical aspect. So it becomes little more, you'll find heavy for the students. And if you'll see, 5.5 year course is there. And plus to that, if you're going for post-graduation, it consumes another 3 years. So too much engagement in the education is there. And many of the time, it is vested in the, what we can say, cognitive domain, only the knowledge and information. So how can we cope with this kind of situation? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
That's a great question. I have several doctors in my family, so I know exactly the type of education that they have and how much commitment it is. I think it comes down to understanding the well-being of the students, really focusing on the well-being, because outside of our minds need rest. Our bodies need rest. So if we're always on a go, constantly like learning, grasping, like all go, 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 what happens is I know people who had burnouts. I don't know about you, about your students, where they're so stressed that they have an anxiety attack, a panic attack, or even like be so stressed out that they can't think clearly. So unfortunately, I'm not like, that's above my pay grade as far as the education of, what type of work that they can do. What I could say as a professor is be sensitive to the people, to your students, and look at their facial expression. If they look like they're about to have a mental breakdown, you probably need to pull them aside and like, hey, are you okay? You seem kind of stressed. You seem like you're kind of tired. Maybe you should take a break. Like being that mother or father figure to your students and just being sensitive to where their headspace is at, to paying attention to their well-being, and just being that advisor and be like, hey, maybe you should like stop doing that right now and maybe you should go for a walk. Like simple like that, letting them know I see you. If you see that they're struggling, say, I know you're struggling. I've been there. I understand. Just know that you don't have to get it all done right now. Like having that, my thing is having that human connection with your students and being the advisor and paying attention to their well-being and seeing if you feel like it's too much, because you could tell if someone's really stressed out. You could tell if someone is like I'm done, like I'm over, if they're crying, because they failed their exam or whatever. Like just being sensitive as a professor, going above and beyond and being like, I know you failed this, but it's okay. Let's take care of you first. Because the thing is, strong minds, strong bodies, strong hearts, that will produce way better results than just fixing the surface level problem, because the real problem is internally they can't handle it. So being sensitive to those individuals, identifying those individuals that are having a hard time, I think that's from an educator standpoint or even an advisor, having that conversation with them and giving them resources or even tips on how to navigate through those challenging times. And I believe, I don't know, like, again, it's above my pay grade, but maybe you could talk to whoever's developing those curriculum and talk to the people above and be like, hey, I'm a professor here. I'm seeing all the work that my students are doing. And I just want to say that it's a little too much, being that voice for your students, because your students can't go tell whoever's developing the curriculum and be like, hey, this is too much work for me. But you as a professor, you can gauge, okay, this is a little too much, right? Or a doctor, whatever it is that your role is, a head of the department. Push back. That's what I do. I stand up for my employees a lot. That's what I did. So my point is, like, be the voice for those who don't have a voice. And secondly, the ones that are struggling and are having challenges in their, whatever it is that they're dealing with, be sensitive and be that father, mother figure and care for their well-being. Did I answer your question, Dr. Swanand Shukla? Or you could... I hope that
yes, ma'am. Wonderfully you have explained. And this is a real scenario, So we are giving them a boost of appreciations. That is what we can do. And we are more passive, when the patients are coming or patients are admitted in hospitals or some OT operation theaters are busy. So many of the times it happens, we cannot take an excuse from, such kind of work. And that is why, what we can do, Max, is, we are giving appreciation. But what you said is correct, very correct, that to take a break at appropriate interval. And very important, one of the seminar we have recently attended, to take a pause in between to sharpen our own instruments. So that is a real, I think, essence of this discussion. So thank you, ma'am. And really, the student should be a learning community. They should learn from their side also. It should not be passive. And outcome-based learning should be there, because many of the times it happens that in a syllabus, so many things are there which are not useful in the future. So our time and everything goes waste. So we have to be very careful. Nowadays, in India, NAP is there, and we are having course outcome and program outcome and learning outcome. And it is so clear now that what we are going to achieve at the end of this course. So really, the education is moving wonderfully. And thank you, ma'am. And you added in that this. So thank you very much for your explanation and especially the information what you are sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Bhatkar sir, for this opportunity. Thank you, Ms. Harding. It was amazing. Amazing is a very small word, but flabbergasting to understand that India, with the NEP 2020, the National Curriculum Framework into place. Yes, I'm a principal with a K-12 school. And when I see my children right from the pre-primary section to the grade 12, we have included now STEAM education. STEAM is the new in for the pre-primary section. And what you said, yes, when we have nurtured the Gen Z, and moreover, this Gen Z is easily and very, very, very quickly converting themselves to the next Zen. And I'm not very sure that how exactly we can help them for their future. But if the roots are correct and the inquisitiveness in them is nurtured well, also, if we have ensured I'm so sorry. It was just a little glitch on the network. So if we have understood, yes, very much the straight jacket rule does not apply to the children. And very beautifully expressed by you, Ms. Harding, that these 5 things, if we keep in mind, and I would like to reiterate that every educationist takes away all the tips that you have given today, I think we'll make better schools even in India. And a big heartfelt thank you for all the information that you've given us to nurture our Gen Z, value education at the pre-primary section, the golden words, the gratitude and the thank you that we can do. And I'm sure we'll have better matured adults and better young entrepreneurs who make a better future tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it. I hope it was valuable to you all. And I love hearing, that you guys are already starting to apply it already prior to that. So
yes. And a very, very, very beautiful thing. And we would really like to request Mr. Bhatkar to let you, enlighten us with the emotive therapy. Because yes, the Gen Z is not able to express very easily. And that is where they go into depression. Very, 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 very minutely observed by you and very outspokenly told today on this platform. And we would really want to understand how to help them emote their expressions at the right time and come and speak to us. And yes, the small tip that you gave to us is personalize, take a pause and let them take a pause, which is so very important in today's life. Thank you so much, Ms. Harding.
Thank you.
Once again, on the entire community, I want to extend my heartfelt heartfelt gratitude, thank you, and for this exceptional and flabbergasting session today.
Oh wow! Thank you. I'm so glad I put my heart in it. I hope you guys could see my heart because I really do care about that next generation, especially because I have young children. So I know that they're walking in it too. So I'm more mama bear protective over this next generation. So thank you all for
and I could
having
see
me.
that very much because when Mr. Bedkar told me that you will have your child awake, and it reminded me I have a 10-year-old and she changes so quickly. And yes, I could relate to that.
Yes. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Blessings. Take care.
Yes, sir. Yes. Now, at the end of the conference, I am here for formal vote of thanks. Today, we had very good international e-conference on the topic redefining value in education, addressing college skepticism. On behalf of the organizing committee of this international conference and Shri Kumarswami College Ausa, I extend heartfelt gratitude for the chief guest and keynote speaker, Honorable Edna Harding ma'am from Colorado, United States. She has spared her precious time and very valuable information on the topic, and it is very useful for all the participants and delegates. So I am very thankful to you, ma'am, as the chief guest and keynote speaker. I also thank today's session chair, respected principal Jigna Jagdish Koyani ma'am from Gujarat, and she has put her opinion before us, which is very fruitful for us. And so, on behalf of the committee, I also thank you, ma'am. And all these things have become possible. The series of national and international webinars and international conference, which are often taking place, and because of that, our knowledge is enriched. And for all these things, our principal, Dr. M. Bedkar, sir, Honorable Chief Organizer, is very active, and so we are all coming together again and again to share our knowledge. So, on behalf of the organizing committee of the college and the international e-conference, I thank you, sir. I also thank the convener of today's international e-conference, Dr. K.N. Kadam sir, who is the professor department of botany of our college. And I thank all the delegates and participants who are the center point of this international e-conference and all other webinars, because of whom the interactive sessions are becoming very fruitful, and because of them all these webinars and international conferences are becoming successful. So I thank the participants and delegates. And now I request all the participants and delegates, please fill feedback link to have your certificates. And at the end, with the kind permission of the chief organizer, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Ambedkar, sir, I declare here that today's International E-Conference is over. Thank you very much.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Harding.
Thank you all. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.